my little brother did what? Like, that's where your mind went. I don't know if that's where my mind went, but that's what my face is saying.
Oh my God.
I got my first stretch marks on the boobies.
That wasn't there before. That wasn't there. I can talk about sex with you. You can talk about sex with me. I can talk about sex with you, but you can't talk about sex. You guys can talk about sex with each other.
I get all the tea.
Our current culture celebrates anxious parenting. Worry is a natural part of being a parent. There's nothing wrong with that, but like the anxiety component, something that we got to work through. What things are you going to do differently postpartum?
I think I will buy diapers this time.
I didn't know that was something you didn't have. I would have bought you a bunch.
I just used the big pad.
Oh, the adult diaper.
The adult diapers.
Welcome back to the Unplanned podcast. I am so excited today to be joined by my sweet sister-in-laws, Addy and Addy, who are both pregnant right now. This is literally the best year ever. I'm like so convinced that this is just going to be the happiest year. We're going from having, between the three of us, how many kids we have? Three to
children.
5,
That's
almost doubling. That's very impressive.
That's a summer camp.
We can't go to dinner together anymore.
No, we can't.
Like at what
Too many kids.
I mean, maybe we could with 5. No, that's...
How many adults, though?
That's
like,
aggressive.
We'll just...
There'd be 6 adults and 5 kids.
That-
if it was just us.
A table for 11. No, we can't go out to eat together anymore.
babysitters.
Yeah, we will just host.
Yeah.
Let's
at
just
our
host.
houses
Let's just host.
between
Let's
us.
just
You guys
host.
can host.
It's honestly better. The kids
we'll
don't
come
sit at a
over.
table
No,
anyway.
they
Yeah.
just run around.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Okay, so Addy, you're due. Okay, wait. First of all, for clarification, Addy is married to my brother and having her first baby, and Abby's married to my husband's brother, and they're on their second baby. And there's just a lot to talk about here because this is such an exciting. I love talking about babies, pregnancy. Like, if there's someone I first meet, I'm like this, but I'm sometimes scared to ask because I don't know if there's like a complicated history there.
Yes.
So I'm like, I usually wait for them to give me like the first little nudge, and then I'm like, okay, so when did you like? And then I have like a million things to talk about, and if they have a toddler, then I have a whole other things to talk about. If they have older kids, I'm like, okay, so what's it like now? Like, do they get up and do things on their own? Like, I'm fascinated. I'm like, do they make cereal for themselves? Like, what can they do? Do you talk to them like normal people?
I think Griffin will do that soon. Like, he'll be able to make his own bowl of cereal.
Why does it feel like it's so far away? Except now that he doesn't have a binky, I will say, I'm like,
He's growing up.
you're an adult now. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
asks for his coffee in the morning.
That's sad,
We don't give him
yeah.
coffee, okay?
Just a little bit of milk.
Just a little bit of milk with a little bit of honey.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I know. Ashley gave him his own mug yesterday.
Aw.
She saw a Stitch mug. He really likes Stitch. And he was just walking around with the other kids with his little, actually ceramic, like breakable mug.
Wow.
And I was like, you're an adult.
That's
The
so
other night
mature
at
of
dinner,
you.
he asked for coffee because the adults were getting coffee after dinner. He's like, "Can I have coffee?" We're like, "That's for the morning."
Yeah.
Only decaf.
I think
you want
it's
a decaf
shocking for
coffee?
other people. I don't even give him decaf. Honestly, I think that still
Nothing,
feels
nothing.
weird.
No, that would be crazy.
Decaf still has caffeine in it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's
In
like
case
giving
people
your
didn't
kid
know, decaf-
unalcoholic, non-alcoholic beer. Like, just
Yeah.
doesn't feel right. Like,
Makes sense.
technically, it should be allowed, I guess.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
we're not going to do that one. Okay, so Addy, you are due in August. Abby, September. So
Yes.
starting with Addy, how did you find out? This was a planned baby.
This was a
correct?
planned baby, planned pregnancy.
Addy does everything planned.
There was no way it was going to be unplanned. My life doesn't work that way.
She's a good
All has
yang
to be
to our
pl-
yang.
Love that. I'm honestly
Keep it
so
all
proud of you.
scheduled.
Wow.
But with it being our first, we didn't know if everything was going to work out the first time, and it did. So that's why we're doing August, because first try, it worked out. We got pregnant with her. And so I found out, so again, with eye tracking everything, I do natural cycles, been tracking my period for like,
You were like kind of intense actually about this.
I was
Addy.
intense. I had an Oura ring. I still have an Oura ring. I
You
just don't
bought it
wear
for
anymore.
that purpose,
For
right?
the very specific purpose of being able to track my temperature.
Intense.
It couldn't be us.
That is really intense.
When I was like,
impressive.
when we decided we were going to start trying, we had gone home for Thanksgiving, and I forgot my charger to my Oura ring, which means my Oura ring died, which means I can't take my temperature and track it. Very upsetting to me because I'm very on schedule. We're trying to get pregnant, and the first time I'm ovulating, I don't know when it is because I like don't have my charger. My ring died. Love natural cycles, but if you don't, they don't use. You can't use a regular thermometer. You can't go buy an Oura ring charger because of the sizes. You have to like order it online. There was literally no way because I didn't even have like the portable thermometer that they give you with me. And so that was like stressful
Can
for
you
me.
even input the temperature? Like
No, it doesn't let you input the temperature either, which I'm like,
some flaws
this
here.
is unhealthy. I understand they're trying to make money.
Business plan.
That's a great
I was like, why can't I just input my own temperature? I'll take it in the morning, do it that way.
Well, the other thing too is you have to pay for the Oura Ring. You have to pay monthly for the Oura Ring, and then you have to pay extra to do natural cycles with the Oura
Yeah.
Ring.
Brilliant.
It's
They are gonna.
here's my
They are
thing.
killing it.
That
My
is
hot take
shocking.
about the Oura Ring. I don't love it.
That's
I think
okay.
it's good for people who care about their sleep, maybe. I don't necessarily care about my sleep. I wish I would have just upgraded my Apple Watch to be able to take my body temperature and hook it up that way. So probably like after this baby, I'll upgrade my Apple Watch and just keep track of my
But that's
cycle
good
that
for
way.
people to know if
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
gonna.
So because
plan
I
a
don't really
baby.
care about my sleep cycle, it actually like stresses me out if I'm like, you got a 34% score. I'm like, yeah, that's why I feel horrible today, rather than I'm like, I don't know what I got, so I just have to live my life and keep moving that way. So didn't have my Oura Ring, didn't have the charger or anything like that, and so we were like, I was still keeping track of like when my period was gonna start. I have a very regular period, and so with that, we got home from that trip. Blake, a little psycho, not psycho actually. He wouldn't let me drink or anything or like eat any of the things that you would when you're pregnant over that span of not knowing if we were pregnant or not, just because he was like worried about it, which I get. But I was like, surely I'm not gonna be pregnant the first try. Like, why can't we're with our friends? Like, why can't I just have a glass of wine at Thanksgiving dinner? He's like, nope. I'm like, probably smart. Now that I'm pregnant, smart of me to do that. Yeah. But so we got home. I took a test 2 days before I was supposed to start my period, and I took the ovulation test. So I ordered like 50 off Amazon. They're super cheap, and they just like show, or not the ovulation test, the
strips?
CP, what's the level?
HCG.
HCG level tests, and took one 2 days before I was supposed to start my period just to see if anything was going to show up. Nothing showed up. I was like, cool, not pregnant. We had girls' night that night. Went over, it was like, I was talking to Emily Fuller about it, and I was like, nope, not pregnant. She's like, I feel like you would not tell anyone and you would just have a baby. I'm like, that is absolutely not me at all. Like, I would tell you literally. If I was pregnant right now, I would tell you. I took a test this morning, negative.
That was a bad take.
Yep, not me at all.
We're still getting to know each other.
The next morning, I don't take a test, and then it's like 10 a.m. I'm like looking at my Oura Ring. The next day. I'm looking at my Oura Ring stats, and my heart rate, my sleeping heart rate was elevated and for like a couple days now, and I'm like, I'm very, very regular, like never changes ever, and I was like, this is interesting. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go take a test. Blake's sitting at the kitchen table working, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go take an HCG test and see what happens. Go in there. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, there's a faint line. I think there's a faint line because I took a test the day before, didn't even think there was a line at all, and then today I was like, there might be a line here, and so I'm like freaking out. I'm like crying. I'm like, I think that's a faint line. I don't know. And so, then I go out. I just show it to Blake. I say, so do you think there's a line here? No planning, nothing special. I was just like, is there a line here? And he's like looking at it. He's like, I don't know. He's like, what does it mean if there's a faint line? He's like, I'm like, if there's any line, I'm pregnant. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, that's what that means if there's a faint line. And I was like, I have one test that says like yes or no if you're pregnant or not. And he's like, okay, go take that. I'm like, okay, I will. Go back.
Did you have more pee in you, or like?
I
in a
peed into a
cup?
cup.
Did you pee in a cup? Oh, okay.
So when you buy those HCG tests in that pack of
you
50,
have
it
to
comes
dip
with
it.
cups. It has 50 cups with it as well. So I peed into a cup, and so then I was able to do the test, and I was like just waiting there. I was like, I'm so confused if this is gonna be. And I flipped it over. It said yes. I was just like so shocked because seeing like a faint line versus seeing it say yes is just completely different feelings. So I like have those recordings of like.
That's why I have that rule for myself. You only take the ones that are like digital read. Mm-hmm. But with Augie, I didn't think I was, so I just did the lines.
Yeah. Well,
dark lines.
I was like, I didn't want to. They're expensive.
I broke my own rule.
Why are pregnancy tests so expensive? So I was like, I don't want to buy all these and, and then take them and they just be negative all the time. And so I was like, I'll just get these. And my dad was like, you didn't even need to get all those. Just you needed 2 and then you were fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
now I have 48 for the rest of next time.
48?
It's a pack of 50 like strip tests.
So you took a test just based off your heart rate.
Yeah.
You didn't even have symptoms.
No, I had one. I still hadn't missed my period yet. My period was the next day. It was supposed to start the next
So
day.
it was one day before your.
It was one day before my period. I had no symptoms for a while,
Wow,
actually.
that's
Other than missing my
crazy.
period.
It's so weird how, like, even if you know you did things to make a baby, when you find out, like, I don't care what anyone says, it's still shocking. Like, it's
Absolutely.
still surprising.
That's how it works.
What? I think what's weird about it is, like, when you find out, it's like something that's already happening. It's not like something that's like just started. You're like, wait, it has been this way. And, like, you're like finding something about yourself that you didn't. I don't know.
You're like, you never not know what's going on in your body, but I guess this time you're like, what? This
So
has been
sick.
growing. What's happening here? I don't know. But
was-
that was even more surprising for like Blake and I, and TMI for people. But like, it was the first time we'd ever tried at all. Like, we were very, very careful. We did natural cycles, never got pregnant. I know a lot of people who get pregnant on like natural cycles because they don't use it perfectly, and we used it perfectly and never got pregnant. And so then the first time we tried not to use it, getting pregnant, I was like, that's not gonna happen to us. And Blake was like, and when I told him, he was like, I always knew you'd be pregnant. But okay, I guess that's the next part. So I flip it over. It says yes. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, am I gonna do something? I can't wait to tell Blake because I already showed him the test earlier. He knows I'm taking one right now. So I was like,
Sneak out
okay,
the
I'm
door.
good. I guess I'm gonna record him. And Blake is a very man of few words.
He's not a social
emotional,
media husband.
Not a social media husband at all. No.
He cannot be posted online.
No, it cannot be posted online. He's like very briefly in my announcement video, or like the like finding out video, just because he's like, I don't want that to be shared. Like, I'm like, okay, fine, but I'll do whatever you want.
He's
And
private
he's like,
man.
that's my reaction. I'm like, because he's like, I knew you were gonna be. So I turned it over. He goes, oh wow. Got up from the table, came over and gave me a hug. Really
that's
cute. We're wearing
sweet.
matching
But
pajamas
that's
that
still
day, so it worked
just
out well.
normal.
When I was taking the test, I changed into the pajamas because I knew he was wearing the pajama bottoms.
Oh my gosh.
Secret.
Secret.
Had to match.
I was like, this would
You
be
mean
cute.
you don't sleep in matching jammies every night?
What?
I was like, this would be cute. We're not doing anything special, but hey, we would be in matching pajamas, and that might be cute.
That's cute.
Our dogs are jumping on us because we're hugging, and Blake's like pushing them down. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not
Yeah.
like nothing. They're not gonna hurt anything right now.
That's
but
funny.
that's how we like found out we were pregnant.
His
Yeah.
protectiveness over you has been super sweet.
It's so sweet. Like all the things he's like. I don't like doing research. I don't like finding things out. I'm like, you tell me what to do and I trust you with it. And so like him telling me the things I can and can't eat, or like can and can't do with like working out, and like has been super helpful because I'm like, I don't want to look that stuff up.
I didn't know you were like that.
I don't like research. I'd rather Blake give me the answer.
Sure.
Because I trust him enough to do the research. And he, like, for our registry, I was like, you look up what bottles and what binkies and stuff like that, because I don't want to look up what's best. I don't really care. You tell me and then put it on the registry.
He's exactly like my dad. Like, my dad is like would be the one worried about like everything. And so I told Matt one time, I was like, I think I just had a little revolution.
Revolution.
Revolution
Revelation?
right now.
It's a revelation?
Revelation. I was like, you don't look. Revival. I was like,
It's a revelation.
Sometimes I misinterpret what you're doing, like when you're like your calm nature, like as unloving, because my dad loved me by showing he was like by worrying about me. And so I was like, you're not worried about me, so you don't love me. He's like, no, I don't worry about you because it's not my nature. I'm not a worrier. Like, and I'm like, oh. Okay, it just took 9 years, you know.
Yeah.
Because I kind of put the pieces together. I was like, oh, like you have to worry about me, but like that was just my family. Like they just, my dad like would never be like super outwardly like affectionate exactly, but he was worried about me, so he loved me.
Oh, yeah.
Like I kind of put 2 and 2 together in my mind, but that's funny. So then Abby, you were on vacation. Did you know that? That's what Teresa told me, our mother-in-law. She was like, oh, I figured that they were going to because they were in Mexico. I think figured they were going to
Figure we were gonna what?
make a baby.
Wow, the conversations you guys have about it.
Well, I kind of just moved on. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You texted me, are you making a baby in Mexico?
Well, I already knew you were making a baby.
This one was also planned.
Yeah. Okay, so your first was not.
No, CJ was a happy surprise.
Okay.
And then, so this time, we already talked about my whole labor after it happened on the podcast. So if you're curious, you can go back to that. But my doctors are pretty firm about trying to wait 18 months so that my body could fully heal. So once that 18-month mark hit, which was just a couple months ago, I was like, okay, let me go to the doctor, have them check everything, talk to them about it, get the green light. And then that was, I think, November. And then December, I was like, I don't think we're quite ready. It was over Christmas break. I thought that I was late on my period. I took 2 tests, and they were both negative.
You were late, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like 5 days late, which was weird.
It just happened randomly?
Yeah, unless I just miscounted. Because I don't track it on an app. I just write the date down, and it comes. I'm like, it's usually on the note.
Apps are free and so easy.
I know.
I know somebody who does it like
you made
physically on like a piece of paper. I'm like, that's crazy to me.
The idea, for some reason, the idea of having another app on my phone stresses me out. So I just write it down on a list.
Okay, that's different.
I need to organize my phone.
That's a little different, Abby.
It's a little, yeah.
This episode of the Unplanned podcast is brought to you by Wild Grain.
Tonight we are having soup, and I think the perfect thing to pair with our soup is Wild Grain, because they send the bread to your door, and it's very yummy, and I think it would be great bread to eat with our soup.
No, it's really, really nice, because even if you buy like a baguette or whatever fresh bread you're trying to get from the store that same day, it just immediately starts getting a little, you know?
It's crazy how quickly bread just doesn't taste right, but if you're baking it yourself, there's something about that, like home bake, like the smell that fills your home. You know what I'm talking about? That beautiful, like, why am I saying beautiful?
It's beautiful.
That just incredible smell of fresh baked bread. That's what Wild Grain is bringing into your home.
Yes, Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. So picture this. You get your box of Wild Grain, and it takes all the hassle of baking bread out the door because it arrives and you just pop it in the oven, and in 25 minutes you have warm, delicious, literally fresh baked bread.
But not only that, you got the smell of fresh baked bread in your home.
Yeah, and they also have recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan.
Let's go.
So I personally am so looking forward to, after the long day, getting my bowl of immunity soup and my little fresh baked bread.
Wait, is that what we're having tonight?
Yes.
Immunity soup and Wild Grain bread?
Surely.
Let's go.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep?
Yes.
Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/unplanned to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/unplanned. That's wildgrain.com/unplanned, or you can use code unplanned at checkout.
So anyway, I just had a list on my phone of dates, but I took 2 tests. They're both negative, and Caleb and I were talking, and we felt good. Well, I was like, man, it would have been so exciting if I was, but I'm really happy that it wasn't unplanned again, because we just wanted to try it out the planned way to see how that happened. So after that, we were like, let's go. Let's go for it. And then, we were very fortunate that month we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah, and you tested early too.
Yeah, I took the test on Friday. It was the last day that we were in the DR.
I always say Mexico.
I know, they're different, but similar.
Similar vibes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the beach.
Well, you're also at an all-inclusive, so
yeah, it feels
those are all kind of very similar.
It's similar vibes. But it was the last day of our trip, and I knew I was supposed to start my period around 2 days later. And so I took it that Friday. And it was just the lines. It wasn't the words. And the lines were dark.
Oh.
And I said, I think we're good. And when I took the test, I think I posted the video by now, but I still haven't cried about it. I feel like it hasn't hit me emotionally yet that we're having another baby.
Yeah, wait, well, I never saw the reaction video. Was it just like normal?
Yeah, I was like, wow. That's weird.
What do you think this means?
Yeah,
Did you take it together?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, because the first with CJ, I took it, and then I surprised Caleb with a coffee and from Starbucks, and it said, we're pregnant. And that was really fun. And then this time we had talked about taking it together.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Addy, you told me like the same day you found out. Was I the first person you told?
No, Rachel James.
Aw, sweet.
I called Rachel, Blake called Trey. And then you were the first person in person
Well-
that we told. Actually, no. Rachel and Tom Sullivan were the first ones to know at the podcast studio. So that's a funny story. I was working in person that day, coming to the studio, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just found out I'm pregnant. I found out at like 10 a.m. I left at 10:30 to come here. And I came here, and Rachel and Tom were here and their whole team, and they were talking to me, and they were like, so do you have a family? Like, do you have any kids? And I said, I found out I'm pregnant this morning.
I love her and Blake. Blake was like, why did you tell them?
Blake was like,
And she's
why would I lie?
She's like, I wasn't going to lie. And he's like, well, it's not like you're lying, but you didn't have to volunteer that information.
I don't know. I just said it.
We actually did used to have a friend like that. Like, no lie ever. Even a white lie. Like, even anything that was just, like, harmless. Like, no lie was acceptable in her mind. So, maybe that was just...
funny. I don't know.
She's like, I'm not lying.
I was just so excited. I was like, I need to tell someone.
Yeah.
And so... It
It's
was
kind
so
of fun
funny
to do that.
Yeah,
Just
they
get
were,
it off
and
your
they were like
chest.
not safe people, but they don't know me. They don't know
yeah.
anything. Yeah. The issue is that they were so excited. Tom was so sweet. Like came and gave me a big bear hug because he's a big guy. Like so sweet. And I said, but Matt and I don't know. You can't tell them.
Yeah.
Right
so
before they got here, and they're like,
that's
okay. And so then they're leaving, and Tom comes up to me and goes, congratulations again, like really quietly in my ear, and it was like so sweet.
The next day we went to the zoo with them, and I was like, they told me, by the way, because I was like, now I know information about my own niece or nephew.
Yeah, it was so funny. But yes, so Blake and I were like
fun.
talking about it, and we were like, are we gonna tell people yet, or are we gonna wait? And I wanted to tell people because I was like, if anything, I want to enjoy this right now and not be like scared to talk to people and tell people. 2, if anything happens, I want those people that I want to tell right now to know, and that can like be there with me. And so I like got permission. Blake and I talked about it. I called my best friend Rachel and like FaceTimed her and told her, and then he called his best friend Trey and told him, and then Abby was coming over that night to watch Real Housewives, and
Which is, by the way, random. We
try to get in like
that was the first time or second time we did that.
Yes, first or second time. She was trying to like, she had other plans that she was also asked to go to, and she was asking me if she should go or if she should come over to mine. I'm like, you should really come over and watch the show with us.
Like, no worries. We'll cancel that. I double booked. But
she was like, I agreed to you first, Addy. So
Did you pick up on that she was urgent?
No, not at all, actually.
No. Well, you just had said I was your first obligation anyway.
Yeah,
so
I
you
said
were
yes
gonna come
first.
to me. Yeah,
and so I was gonna go to your house, but I was just like letting her know, like, I don't know how, like, if you were still like for sure we're doing this.
Yes.
And then she was like, yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah,
and
we're
so
doing
I was
this.
like,
Come
okay.
over.
And it's fine because the other person canceled anyway. So that worked out.
And so then you get there, we're sitting on the couch, and I'm like,
No, here's the
told
thing.
me.
You and
Okay.
we were talking for a long time.
we were talking for a little
Me
bit.
and you and Blake were talking for a long time.
And, because
like
before
20
we started the
minutes.
show, I was gonna wait until we like started the show, so then it wouldn't seem weird. I was like, okay, I'll get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah, so we started the show like 20 minutes.
started up the show. I was like, okay.
The
I'm gonna go
second
get
the
the
show
pregnant-
turns on.
Literally the second we turned it on, I said, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Go grab the test, bring it out. Abby was just completely shocked, and I loved it so much because she just couldn't, like, we were watching Housewives.
I knew that was like in the near future for you guys.
But we'd always said it was gonna be in a couple
You
months.
said it was gonna be in the new year, but
Yeah.
then also like
I'm also so planned. Like, why would I do it earlier than what I'm telling you I'm gonna do it?
that's true. There's that. Thank you for
I'm
validating
predictable.
that. But then also the way, like, I hate the video of it because the way my face is literally just like, my little brother did what? Like, that's where your mind went. I don't know if that's where my mind went, but that's what my face is saying.
Oh my god!
Like, I'm literally like,
the minute
and
your
I turn
boys
and look at Blake.
tell you, the minute Griffin and Augie are like married and have children, you're gonna.
Like, I didn't
If you think about
expect
your brother?
Yeah. I didn't expect that to happen, but in my first, I was like, I think it was a lot of things. I was like, my little brother is gonna be a
Oh my
father.
gosh, it's
That
so
he's a
That's a
baby.
lot.
But then also like my face was like, I was so overcome with joy. But then also I was just like, but I shut off for a second. Someone unplugged me.
It was
like,
funny to like, because I feel like I never catch you off guard, like with anything. And so I'm like, this was amazing. Like to catch her off guard with
I
that.
really hate that I'm not like smiling or
You
crying
are.
though.
Here's the thing. The video, I just turn off the video.
Oh,
Once
okay.
she gets excited and starts hugging me, I turn off the video.
Oh, okay.
And then we sat there and talked for 45 minutes, and then she also convinced us to go over and tell the rest of the family
Yeah, I
that
was like,
night.
my mom will
So like,
kill
Abby was
me.
excited. She was like, come on, like, we should go tell everyone. Let's do it. I'm like, Blake, can we go tell everyone? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, come on, Blake, we're gonna go. Abby and I are going. Are you coming?
Yeah, Blake, we're gonna go. Let's
Yeah.
go. Blake always needs a little bit of a push anyway,
He
though.
just needs a
That's just
push.
his personality.
Yes, and so I think he was still processing everything, but
Well.
yeah. So then we had told Abby, and then she convinced us, and so we went over and just like told the rest of the family, and I like just showed them I just walked in, and I was like,
I was like, my mom like seemed like she thought that was like expected. Like
Yeah.
she had a very like
she was like,
immediately like,
yeah. It was
good.
cute.
And then Matt was surprised.
Matt
too.
was so surprised.
My
It
dad's
was-
reaction is
and
always
he was
underwhelming.
he was in the bathroom. Your dad was in the bathroom.
You know, a lot's going on in his head, but just
Always.
outwardly.
just like Blake, where like there's not much going on.
He's just like, congrats. But you know it like means so much to them, but also they
Yes.
just can't show it. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Your
not
dad
allowed.
also just loves kids, so I was like,
He
I can't
loves
wait.
kids.
I can't wait to see like our little
And
girl.
That was like the best. I remember
Yes.
that so well. I'll always remember that.
And then I told you just a couple days later when I saw you, and I wasn't gonna see you for a couple more days, but then like I needed to run over and drop something off. I'm like, I'm gonna tell her. I'm like, Blake, can I tell her?
Oh,
I
yeah.
kept the pregnancy test also just in my fanny pack in case I needed it for anything to tell anyone, just in case I wanted to. I don't think the pee is a weird thing. Blake thinks the
You have
pee
to
is
tell
so
with
weird.
the- you have to
that
tell
like
with the
that is
stick.
something that you physically peed on. Why do you use
I don't
it?
really
Some
think it's
people
that
are that
weird
way
either.
too,
I don't
but I
think
don't
it's
think it's
I don't
weird.
think it's weird at all.
I don't think
Like
it's weird.
that other people, he's like, other people will like touch it or hold it. I'm like, I don't think that's weird.
No, not a bit.
I don't even
It's
register
covered.
that someone peed on it.
Also,
But-
we have children. There's pee literally everywhere.
Yeah. Well,
Like at least it's not poo.
still part of food. I'm not gonna, I don't
poop
want
on
to eat
it.
it. Yeah.
Also, mine was in a cup, so it wasn't like I wasn't just spraying everywhere either.
It was contained.
It was contained. But with you, I had just come over and I started recording because I had gone to the dentist that day, and they turned me away because I was pregnant and they needed approvals from
Which is
my
so
doctor.
weird.
So weird.
Were you gonna get nitro gas? Or
No. This was just a regular checkup
That's
cleaning
never happened to me.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
situation. And because on the like inquiry form, you had to mark if you were pregnant or not. I'm like, I literally found out yesterday that I'm pregnant, but they're like, we need approval from your doctor. I'm like, okay. So I come over and you were like, literally.
Which
I walked in
Caleb
the
and
door.
Abby Caleb asked me an hour before that.
Yeah,
Do you think
so
they're
yeah.
gonna have kids soon? Remember that?
Oh, was when we were putting up the pictures?
yes.
That's funny.
And he was like, "Do you think they're gonna have
yeah,
kids
you were
soon?"
kinda
She
weird.
knew.
I was.
Well, you were like, I don't know. You got tense. I didn't
thought
think
I
anything
played
of
it
it,
off
but looking
so
back,
well.
I'm like,
You're lying. I
a
played
bad
it off
liar.
so
I don't
well.
think so.
When I told Caleb, he was like,
I don't think
Abby
so.
knew.
See,
That's what you said.
okay,
But
I'll
you
give
felt
it
a
to you.
little weird.
you're
about
a liar. Matt even tells me all the time. He's like, "You could lie to me, and I would never know." I wouldn't do it, but
You
wouldn't
could,
do
if
it.
see,
you
there's an
needed
example.
to.
That was a white lie I did. I was like, I don't think so.
So then
It
I
was
came
really good
over.
acting.
Yeah, and you're
It
like,
was.
"How was your day?" I was like, "Good." I like started recording. I'm like taking pictures of I was like, I need another picture of these pictures. This video of the pictures on the wall. And I was like, on the mixed tiles.
Thank you for the beautiful mural.
And I was like, oh, it was good. But I got turned away from the dentist because I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And like, you were like, what?
I was shocked. I don't think I knew that you guys were trying.
No, I
They
think we
didn't
had
talk
planned
about
to
it a
like
lot.
start in the new year and then
There it was.
that's an off-topic topic that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, no. Okay, we can actually bring it up right now. There's a list. There are very few things that the sister-in-laws. This was a question that our producer came up with. She was like,
I was like, good
"Are there
question."
any topics that are like off limits between the sister-in-laws?" And I'm like, "Yes, there
Just
are.
one?
There's just one.
one.
We can talk about pretty much anything, and it only goes one way. Me and you. Do we say sex on this podcast?
I think we could say sex on the
Okay.
podcast.
So I can talk about sex with you. You can talk about sex with me. I can talk about sex with you, but you can't talk about sex.
And I can talk about it with Abigail, but
You guys can talk about sex with each other.
I get all the tea.
One time we were at dinner. Oh my gosh, Blake hates that I talk to other, but it's a girl thing. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
open thing.
Blake doesn't like it.
No, that I
Oh, I
talk to
told
other
Matt I talk about it all the time.
girls about
He's like,
it.
you need to
I'm
get
like,
that off your chest.
We just need to discuss what's happening. And I'm like, Abby, close your ears. I need to tell Abigail something.
I
Yeah, we
literally
literally
not
did.
only close my ears, I hum. So I'm like, I cannot. I cannot. I'm sorry.
so
Like, you have a
funny.
little brother?
Yeah, I do. He doesn't have a girlfriend yet.
Cross that bridge when you get
We'll
there.
cross
You only
that
have
bridge another day.
sisters. I feel like it's just a little different.
Yeah, we don't really talk about it, my sisters
Oh,
and I.
okay.
So I get it.
Okay. I'm like, no, I don't. That's the one thing.
The one thing.
Yeah.
And it comes up so much. I'm just like, what?
Hey,
Brick
you
wall.
can't. We can't talk
We got a
talk
brick
about that.
wall, do a U-turn.
Gotta stop there.
Also, your guys' pregnancies are going way slower than any of mine ever gone.
What do you mean by that?
I'm like, man, they gotta be ready to have a baby soon. It's
Got a long way to go.
months.
Yeah, no, I'm almost halfway.
Like, I don't know. I think it's just like being like close with y'all, but just like not being pregnant. I'm like, man, this takes forever.
I've been thinking about that recently. I'm like, why 9 months?
Like,
Feels like a
longer than-
long time. Like mentally, you do need to prepare, but I'm like, let's just get her here. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I felt like 9 months was the perfect amount of time with CJ because we had a lot of shaping up to do.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't feel like it was slow with either time I was pregnant,
Yeah.
like personally.
Yeah.
With walking through it, I'm like, oh my god, because I think there's nothing I can do right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
see
take
what
care of
you're
y'all.
saying.
I can hang out with y'all. But I'm like,
I feel like the first, like, when I had the morning sickness, it was the longest. Like, it was going so slow. And now I'm like, I'm already 18 weeks. Like, I'm almost halfway there. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
that's the fact that I'm already in my second trimester. I'm like, why? Where'd the first one go?
yeah, you were pretty sick.
Yeah, I was, the first, like, 6 to 10 weeks, I was, like, down bad. Like, nausea all day. Like, nothing would work. And then, like, Unisum and B6 were my cure. I know a lot of people talk about those too. And guess what? Blake did the research. I didn't do any of
we
it.
love
He's the one.
it.
Like, that's how he cared for me. I was like, I'm like, you tell me everything. He bought me everything. The bands, the gummies for, like, what is it, ginger? Like, candies and all the different stuff that you could get. He got it for me. But just, like, those together and then eating all the time. If I, like, ramen noodles was like 1 week, I had to have ramen noodles. If I didn't have it within like 10 minutes of the fact that I felt like I needed it, I'd get sick. And so it was just, but ever since then it's been pretty good. It's the worst. Yeah.
Abby, you get
Symptoms?
sick?
I don't get sick. I've been very tired. I'm 12 weeks tomorrow, so almost out of the first trimester, and I am like, ugh, so tired. I've just been on my back every day at like 1. I just lay down. I've watched a lot of TV during the day, which never happens, and just like really have not been able to work or do anything. And
Well, also this time around you have a baby.
Yeah.
yeah, which actually I feel like it's been, I don't know if it's necessarily CJ's making me more tired. I don't remember feeling this tired when I was pregnant with CJ. But
yeah, you couldn't rest when you need now though. Like anytime you need to.
Yeah.
And you have to get up whenever.
Yeah, I feel like the mornings maybe, but I have good energy in the mornings. It's like once the coffee wears off, then I'm doomed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm like, because CJ doesn't have, he's got a lot of energy, but it's not, like he independently plays really well, and like my parents watch him a lot in the afternoons when I'm really tired. So I feel like it hasn't been, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if that's been the factor, if I've just been way more tired. Just physically feeling it way harder.
I have a
And-
question
yeah.
about that. So, like, for me, example, first pregnancy, morning sickness, tired. I was like, everyone's like, it gets better. I'm like, I know you're saying that. I don't believe it because I feel horrible right now. And you just, like, can't think to the future. You've been there. You've gone through it before. Are you, like, I know it's going to get better? Like, mentally, it's, like, easier than, like, the first time around, would you say?
Yes. Yeah. Well, maybe a little longer because I'm like, oh, I just have to get to 12, 13 weeks and then I'll be better. So then I know that time. So I'm like waiting for that day on the
Fair.
calendar. So maybe it feels a little longer. Maybe more
That
so.
makes sense.
But I think, yeah, mentally I don't feel as like freaked out by things or as unsure. I'm like, oh, this is just because of pregnancy. You know, I feel like I understand that these symptoms I have are because of that. Whereas before, I'm like, am I sick? Is my nose runny?
Yeah.
But I was like, just pregnant.
That makes sense.
Neither one of you got like any like weird symptoms, I feel like.
No.
Like
my first
my nipples
was
hurt so bad both times.
With CJ, yeah. My
like
resting
so bad.
tender
I
breast
cried.
was the first thing that I, like,
Oh.
symptom I had.
Oh, really?
That was the first one I had at 5 weeks.
Oh,
I would have to
I'm talking
cover
about,
myself in the
I'm talking
shower.
about the nips. Like they
Yes,
were burned
okay.
so bad in the shower, like so
Yeah.
effing
I
bad.
would say that is
Felt like
something
they
no
were
one told
bleeding.
me. And then I talked to you about it, and I was like, okay, good, I'm not the only one. But like when they get cold,
Cold, it hurts so bad.
Oh,
hurts
I've never.
so
I
bad.
was in Utah both
bad.
times in the first trimester with both kids.
They hurt this time when we were
I
in Utah.
literally was about to cry. I did cry. And they hurt so
Oh,
bad.
okay,
I
I've
get
never
in
had
the
that.
shower, it just feels like burning, like you cannot believe.
Wow.
Recently, mine has been
Like,
like,
I
getting
dipped them in chili
undressed to get in the
powder.
shower.
Wow. Crazy. You scratched them up and then dipped them in powder.
I would like look down, like expecting to see something.
Wow.
Nothing. Yeah, weird.
That's
also,
crazy.
like cravings or like aversions.
I didn't have any of those.
No, me neither. I haven't had any
Yeah.
like real like
You guys got me
cravings
wondering if I was
or,
faking
like,
it.
crazy things. Aversions, not really either. Just smells. is more so my thing, not food.
Yeah, I feel like with CJ, I was like, no, I don't really have any cravings. But then I look back and I was like, wow, I downed the potatoes. And I downed the oranges. But mostly potatoes. I ate a lot of potatoes.
Those are good cravings.
One
Switching
week,
every
I
week.
made potato soup 3 times.
Wow.
It's all,
You're like, Caleb, it doesn't sound good.
You're like, potato soup again? I'm addicted.
I feel like I have like
poor guy.
fixations each week. Like there, and maybe that's what the
I
cravings
think
are.
that
But
is
I'm
a
like,
craving.
apples maybe are my one thing right now. Oh, apples every single day sound good with a little lime juice on them.
I think my weird symptoms came the 3rd trimester. I got carpal tunnel really bad in my hands and
I
feet.
heard that.
That was awful.
What does that even feel like?
I would wake up in the morning and my feet would hurt so bad I couldn't put them on the ground. I would crawl to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
They would
Oh
hurt
my
so bad. Almost
gosh.
like from being stiff in bed and not using them. And then I'd wake up and I would go to Caleb and I would just cry. I'm like, my feet hurt so bad. I can't stand. And my hands, like I couldn't hold things. Like I would try. I remember I tried working out and I was like, I can't even hold a 2-pound weight. Like it just hurt so bad.
What causes that?
I think it's the swelling of the joints. It's almost like arthritis in the joints
Interesting.
feeling. Potential.
That's horrible.
Not science.
I kind of forgot about
I
that.
could be wrong.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, it was very
That feels
painful.
right.
So I feel like I had weirder stuff come on later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't feel like I have too many. I got my first stretch marks
Oh.
on the boobies.
Welcome to
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yesterday I said, that wasn't there before.
That wasn't there.
But he goes, are you using all the creams he got me? I'm like,
Oh,
yes, I
time
am.
to shove
I
it.
am.
You can't help it.
He's like, so did you put them on today? I'm like, yes, I put them on
I
today.
think those are all a scam, by the
I think
way.
it's
If you're
genetics.
gonna get stretch marks, you're gonna get
I
stretch
have
marks.
stretch marks already, like in my hips
Like, it's
and
gonna
like
happen.
my legs. I'm like, I'm just gonna get them. I'm prone to them.
We love them.
You know what? I actually was worried with Griffin. I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate that. I feel like I'm gonna hate that. Literally, don't give a rat's booty about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't even think about
Literally
it.
don't.
I'm
That's-
so curious.
In fact, that's the least of my concerns.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, the way that looks,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
makes
But
sense.
it is. Sometimes I'm like, well, it is what it is. You know, it's not like I'm like, I love them. Like, it's not like I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not.
I
You
feel,
don't think about
I feel
them.
here nor there about it. Don't
Yeah.
feel here nor there.
I just don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel like. I'm like, especially here, I'm like, I don't care what that
Okay.
looks like, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially on the boobs.
Especially
I
on
mean,
the
one
boobs.
person and a baby.
Exactly.
One person and a baby.
Yep.
And then we're getting too close to the wall,
Yep.
actually.
And the baby not forever.
I'm going to back
wrap
that up.
it up. We're gonna wrap that up next.
Okay. So you guys found out the gender. Did you find
Yes.
out like 10 weeks?
We found out at, I think 10
The
weeks we
blood
found out
test?
the gender. We did a blood test. Fun fact, if you try and do the test through your doctor, they're going to charge you an outrageous amount. Just go to a blood center, get the blood test, get like Peekaboo or Sneak Peek for $100. Do it that way instead, if you want to do it early. And so we definitely wanted to find out the gender. Blake is, again, not a social media guy, very private. And so he wanted to find out, like, do it on our own, find out the gender first, and then we'll do a reveal for everyone else. And so we did the test. It came back in like 3 days, which was like so nice. Didn't have to wait.
Did you
So
feel any instinct?
I felt like I was leaning girl. I think Blake and I were both leaning girl with like what we thought it was, but like I seriously had no idea. I think the only reason I thought girl was because there were no boys in the family. That's the only thing that I was like,
You guys gave strong girl vibes.
Yeah, Blake
I was
does
sold.
feel girl.
girl dad.
You actually also kind of feel like girl mom.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that.
yeah. I could see being a
don't-
dance mom.
I also have two. I'd be a dance mom. I have two older sisters, so they were like three girls and then a boy in my family, and so like I was like, makes sense if I have a girl first.
Yeah.
And so got the blood test, came back. I was like, I want to do something special, even though like Blake just wants to look at the test. He doesn't care like about doing anything fun or special. And I was like, I don't really want to do the cake thing. I don't really want to do like some of these other ideas. So I ordered these books off Amazon that said why a son needs a mom, why a daughter needs a dad. And I like bought them in the sets and then I brought them to Burn. Shout out Amanda, she's great. She did it for me, the trainer. So I brought it in, I gave her my phone. I said, here, open up the email, put the right books in this bag, and then tape up this Amazon box so I don't get in it.
So smart.
Luckily we live like 5 minutes, so I like sprinted over there. She did it. We came home and I was like, okay, Blake, let's do it. He's like, 1 second, got stuff to do. Like, made me wait like 30 more minutes. And I'm like,
That's
are you kidding me? And
He's
so,
probably
self-control.
going with his own stuff.
yeah.
He's just like probably like,
He's just like-
let me sort through this
Yeah,
for a
he's like,
second.
let me let me go get my hair wet, put my contacts in, like, I'll go get a little ready for this. And so then we, like, opened it up, and I was like, I saw it. I, like, just read it, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, it was such, like, a shock moment, but also, like, he was like, I knew it was going to be a girl. Like, I just knew it was going to be a girl. And so it was really just, like, a sweet moment. We got to have just the two of us, which was, I started crying because I was like, this is so sweet. And, like, all the other boys in the family, like, it's going to be so exciting. So she's going to be spoiled rotten. Like, she'll be great. But then we saved that information for, like, 3 weeks. I told everyone I was pregnant, like, the day and the day after I found out. Trying to not tell everyone the gender for 3 weeks was not a smart idea on my end. I didn't crack. I didn't tell anyone. What did you guys think it was?
Oh, I thought I was so confident that baby was a girl.
I'm ticked because I've said that you guys were going to have a girl since you guys got married. Like, I was like, they're going to have a girl first. They're going to have two, they're going to have a girl, and it's going to be a boy. It's going to literally just be like a replica of our family.
That's what I want.
And I was like, that's going to happen. And then my mom, freaking Lori, she just starts giving me all of her data.
A lot of the data comes back from, like, me saying my preferences also.
Yeah,
and Blake
and
being
then
like,
you changed
Addie
your
was
mind.
really excited when she found out.
He's like, I was excited, but Addie was really excited. That was one of her big data points. She had several. She had facts.
She said,
you both
I couldn't
were like,
deny the facts.
She said Blake made a comment about how, oh yeah, someone needs to have a girl because there's a lot of boy energy or something, and so she took that as
that we were gonna have a boy.
Yeah.
She had so many facts, and I was like, you know what? I can't deny facts, and so I switched to boy.
Yeah,
Can't
she was
deny
like,
science.
I
I
can't
her.
deny science.
I was texting her. I was like, so what do you think it is? She goes, I know it's a boy, in all caps. I said,
Me?
fair. No, Lori.
Oh,
I was like, fair.
But you know what? Why do I even believe her? Because she's been wrong about every single guess she's made. Ever. Statistically, that's not even likely either. That's just as unlikely as predicting it.
Pretty impressive.
It's impressive.
So I'm mad.
Yeah, so we had a gender reveal party, but just for, like, family and friends to tell them all, but we already had known it was a girl, so that was really fun.
So fun.
Abby, do you want to tell Addie your philosophy on finding out the gender?
What's my philosophy?
That it's cheating.
I'm like, it's just so exciting to wait.
But if the information is there, it's technically not cheating.
I know. I don't know why I feel so passionate
it's
about
fine.
Maybe because I just get stuck on things sometimes. I'm like, that is just cool. It just
No,
feels
here's
cool.
what's the problem, though. You actually have a preference.
I know. I think because everyone finds out the gender, I just want to be different.
You're not like that normally, though.
Deep down inside, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never liked to go with the grain on things, and then I'm like, well, I'm just going to do it my way. I think it's a middle child thing.
The reason I'm against this is because straight from your own mouth, after having CJ, you're like, next time I'm gonna need to know.
I did say that.
And you're like, and I was like, okay, good. Because you wanted a girl.
The fact that you remember that is
And I
hilarious.
was like, I'm gonna hold her accountable to this because I am of the opinion that the day your baby is born could not get more excited. You've maxed out. In fact, I over maxed out to the point where I don't even like really cry when I hold my baby because I'm just kind of like,
It's a lot.
and it's emotion overload. Like I cry about like the littlest of things. So then when that happens, I'm like, I can't cry right now. It's kind of like we've dissociated.
Maybe it's because I don't cry about the other stuff that I'm like, I need the moment.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? When CJ finding out that he was a boy was the craziest feeling ever. Laying there on the table with my arms strapped
Yeah,
down.
I was like, based on watching you, I couldn't tell that it was the craziest moment ever.
I was like, wow.
You're like, boy, and then you're like, I could just feel like your eyes were floating.
Yeah, I think I was floating, but I also crying.
I feel like my planner personality is like, I have to know so that I
For
can
me-
like plan for it versus like you can be a little more like go with the flow.
Yeah, I'm like, we're not even going to have a nursery for this baby until after the baby's here. So there's nothing for me to really plan. So I'm like, well, let's just save the big moments all for the big day. Yeah.
See, for me, like when I'm pregnant, both times I felt kind of just like things are happening to my body, and I have to remind myself that that is happening because there was a baby in there.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, a baby is a person that is my son or daughter. Like I felt like I have a hard time like processing it, grasping it, even though I like feel like I feel really connected to my body at that time. But also I'm just like, what is this other body in here? And so having a gender helps me put my mind around it, because then I can give baby the name and like start to just like process, because like usually I just do things and then I'm like, wow, after the moment is when I process. So I feel like that's what I would have done. And then I'm like, I'm not in a place to process that after, like postpartum.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, I would agree. I don't think during the pregnancy with CJ, I didn't really connect with the baby in my belly, but I didn't find that affected me after pregnancy. You know, your baby's there. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I feel like I still sometimes say like it or the baby, or I don't say she, or she has a name too. And so I'm like trying to call her by call her name, like when we're talking about her. And I'm like, it just feels weird right now. Like, I'm like, the more I say it, the more, it's just like when you get married and you're like, my husband, I'm a wife. You're like, it feels weird. It feels weird at the first couple times. I'm like, just got to get used to it.
I honestly felt that too with people calling me mom and like mama.
Yeah.
I was like, even with the nurses saying it when I was giving birth, I was like, shush.
Like, my name's Abby.
Like I didn't identify with that yet.
Yeah,
so
fair.
then
Yeah.
now I'm like, don't think twice about it. But like, and that like at that time, I remember just being like,
Ugh, that's weird.
Yeah.
it was kind of gross for some reason. Like, why?
Honestly, yeah.
Why was that kind of
I
gross?
was like, why did I feel weird about
"Ugh."
that?
And I was like, don't say that in front of my mom. Like, I felt even weirder when they called me that in front of my mom.
It's like, I'm a
Like,
child.
she's the mom.
She
I'm a
is the
20-year-old
mother.
child. I am not the mother.
Like, I just felt so, like, honestly grossed out. But I didn't feel that anymore, like, with
No.
Augie or anything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. Well, Abby, really hope you change your mind. But I
don't
support
think
you.
I will.
Find out.
I know you won't.
I want to know who's gonna be playing with my little girl.
It's so funny. We don't do any of the genetic testing stuff, so I felt like
same.
we didn't need to. I don't know. I wasn't gonna find out.
Yeah, that's why I found out at 20 weeks. But
Yeah.
the anatomy scan was a
Yeah.
good time. Good halfway, midpoint for
Yeah.
me.
I wonder
We all did
if that's
something
stressful
different.
Totally.
for the nurses. Or like for the OBs, like when you're like, I don't want to find out the gender, and when
Yeah.
they're like doing everything, they're like, and you want to slip up like with the first one.
I'm not gonna make small talk anymore because they did mess up. But I blame myself. I shouldn't have made small talk. I'm gonna
I
go
totally
in there
agree
and
that way
mute, and I'm
too.
gonna tell her I don't want to know, and I want you to zip it.
You think it's a girl, though.
Yeah, I do. But I'm gonna tell him to zip it.
I want it to be a girl. They could be best friends.
I know. I wanted to be a girl so bad.
Here's the thing. I also thought CJ was gonna be a girl, but deep down I knew he was gonna be a boy. So I don't know if I just lied to myself. I think I gaslight myself. But I also am like, I think God will give me a dream. He gave me a dream that I gave birth to a boy twice, and I was like, they weren't divine dreams. Yes, they were. So,
Yes, they were.
They actually
yeah,
were.
actually, they were. So I think this time I'll let you know what the dream tells me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had any dreams?
No, not any dream. I
I
had a
have
dream
dreams
about
I'm
the
pregnant
name.
every night, unfortunately.
Wow.
Not every
Really?
night. I would say it's my most common dream. Happens like other people have dreams that I'm pregnant as well. Bella texted me the other day. She's like, take a test. I think you're pregnant. And I was like, I'm not.
I've never had a
She's
dream
like, I
like that.
just had a dream that
my
you
gosh,
were. Are
that's
you
funny.
sure? And I was like, I am sure.
I feel like
Oh,
I don't
that's
dream
sweet.
about the people in my life.
I don't really dream.
I don't really dream either.
Okay, I
That's
dream.
how I know they're divine.
Sometimes I have dreams that I'm pregnant with twins. Sometimes I have dreams that I woke up and I was 40 weeks pregnant and I was giving birth.
Oh,
Sometimes
wow.
I have dreams that I'm like about to have a baby and I didn't know I was pregnant. Like,
And these are stress dreams?
man, I might have problems. Actually, the other day I was describing a feeling that I have to Angel, who is a therapist, and she's like, Abby, that is dissociating. I was like, no, but it's like I can just look back at my
No.
hands and I know that I'm in my body. And she's like, no, that's a
Not a
grounding.
normal thing.
That is a grounding
Never
exercise
felt
to
that.
get you to stop dissociating. And I
She
was
said
like,
it's actually textbook.
I was like,
So
Shut
what's
up.
wrong with
I don't
me?
think I know what that means. Like disassociating.
I was just explaining this feeling that
Yeah,
I've
have
had
you
since I was a
explained
kid to her, and you want me to explain it to you? Right
Yeah,
now?
I'm actually curious.
Okay, so
because I've never
like, no, everyone.
It's a
know.
buzzword. I don't know anything about.
No, I'm mentally okay. I'm really fine. But like, ever since I was a kid, like I could make myself have this feeling where sometimes I would do it unintentionally, and then I realized I could control it. But I would be like sitting in a room and I would just like be kind of like zoning out, and I'd be like, what if I was, so I could do it in this room. I'd be like, what if I was Addy? Like, what if I'm not myself? And what if I was Addy? And it literally feels like my thoughts like literally get out of my head. I'm not thinking my own thoughts at that point, and I feel like I'm thinking from Addy's perspective. But then sometimes it goes in limbo. Like I'm not in anyone's body. Mostly it stays like that, where I'm just like in limbo. Like I'm like, oh gosh, I got to get back in my own body. It's my thoughts. And I'm like, it's so weird. I had never had told anyone in this feeling, because sometimes it would start to happen and I couldn't control. Like felt like I couldn't control it. And I'd be like, oh man, it's happening. Like I would start to panic. So I'm like, oh no, it's starting to happen. And I don't want it. I want to be in my own body. And like, I didn't really have words for it. And also I was so afraid to tell people that I was like, this is such a weird thing that I'm like, it's probably just a me thing. And then I explained it to Angel and I was like, but don't worry. I found a way to get it back in my body. If I just look down at my hands, then I know that I'm in my own perspective. She's like, that is actually textbook dissociating. I was like,
You know what it sounds like to me?
interesting.
Witchcraft.
I'm a witch.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll
That's
never share my
crazy.
thoughts with you anymore.
No, that's really actually. It sounds kind of cool. Is it scary?
It was cool as a kid, and then it was scary,
Oh.
and then now I know how to make it stop.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that happens all the time, but I don't like it because I'm like, what if I stay outside, like in that
yeah.
limbo? Like, because sometimes it's hard for me to like get back into my own brain. Like, I don't know. Then other people are like, maybe you're just really empathetic, which I'm like, maybe, but I don't know because sometimes it's like it's not even necessarily an extremely like emotional situation. Like it could be like the most random. We're at McDonald's, and
Yeah.
like it'll happen. So
Weird.
You are very empathetic, but
Yeah.
I've never.
I don't call myself an empath, but or anything like that. But that happens to me.
Wow, that makes sense.
So-
I feel like that makes sense with it being called disassociating.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always heard that term, but I didn't know what that meant.
Like, and
I thought
it's
that
not
mean you
happening
weren't
at a point of
focused.
trauma either. Like, it literally happens at the most random times. I'm just like, ew. Like,
Maybe it's when you start to like doze off or something.
maybe.
Like,
Like,
you're
it would
like,
happen to me
tired.
in school. Like, I would be like,
Interesting.
oh, no, not this. Not this I never told anybody that. Like, until I was an adult. And I was like,
Aw.
oh, that's what that is. Okay,
you for
great.
sharing.
I was like, everyone, has anyone ever felt this way? I think it was at book club. And they were like, no.
Is that where Angel said it's disassociating?
Yeah. She's
Did it
across the
feel-
room. She was like,
I actually know what that is.
I will
was
diagnose
like,
that.
Shut up.
Did it feel better having like words to put around it?
Yes and no, because I feel like dissociating is used a lot nowadays, especially like around trauma. And so
Yeah.
then I'm like, but I don't feel like I've gone
Like
through trauma. Like I don't
compartmentalizing
feel like a victim of anything like that. So then I was like, but I don't deserve that title for this. It's really not that. It's just a weird
Not that
thing.
serious.
My brain goes into like space. It's just normal.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So no, Abby, I fully support your decision. Whatever. I'm gonna be biting my nails and peeing my pants. Peeing my pants
Over
on
you.
September or whatever this baby comes.
So
Yeah.
pumped.
Maybe October.
Do you have your girl and boy name together? I know your girl name. You don't
yeah,
have to say.
I don't
them.
have another boy name. Caleb and I don't have to talk
We
about
only
that for a
had
long
boy
time.
names. Girl names were tough.
I feel the opposite. Like I feel like there's so many good girl names, but I feel like boy names are hard.
I still have more boy names, but no girl names, which makes me feel like I'm never gonna have a girl. And everyone tells me that when they see me, they're like, "If you have another baby, unfortunately, it's gonna be another boy." I'm like, well, "That's great."
Oh, thank you.
They don't.
Thank
They
you.
don't feel. Actually, that's another hot take. I don't feel offended when people are like, "Do you want a girl?" I don't feel offended by that. I'm like, no. I mean, I would love a girl, but I'm
Yeah.
not like set on it. But I'm not offended by that. Like, I don't feel like that makes me feel like I'm lacking anything when
Yeah.
people say that.
Yeah.
Another thing, I know that people don't like saying this, so I try not to. I don't say it to other people either. But like when they're like, "Oh, you got your hands full," when people say that, I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Yeah, I'm
Thank
like,
you actually for noticing.
I'm like, yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank you for checking on me. Like, I don't feel offended by it. I don't know. I know that
Yeah.
I think people take it a negative way
Yeah.
when people aren't meaning it in a negative way.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I feel like I would be one of those people that would take it negatively because I'd be like, so you're telling me that I look like I'm crazy right now, and that I feel crazy. Like because what if I feel like I have it under control, and then they tell me that my hands are full.
I'm never under control.
I guess I just don't like care what people. I'm like, maybe I look, but I feel great.
Yeah, that's actually true.
I'm like, if they think I look crazy, but I feel great, and they call me crazy, I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking
You're
about.
wrong. Yeah, that's actually what yeah. I'm like, you don't even.
Thank you, sir, or ma'am.
Everything,
You're wrong.
everything right here is under control. No, the other thing that people get offended about is what is it? Oh, this does rub me the wrong way when they're like, it gets better. That's
it's
where I'm
kinda
like,
negative.
That feels so like, do I look like I'm unhappy? Because I'm actually the happiest person. I love this situation right here, right now. I'm fully happy and actually overjoyed by what's happening.
Or when they're like, just wait until they
Oh,
start
yeah.
walking, or just wait until. I'm like, it's actually.
I'm
all
actually
the
so
fun.
excited.
Yeah, I don't like that one
They're like,
either.
You'll hate the newborn stage. I'm like, I'm actually so excited to get to experience that. So I can't wait. You know, like
I know. I think that one is.
I'm like,
we
it'll
could,
be hard, sure, but
we could get rid of that.
Okay, let's cut those
Beat
out.
it.
Beat it. That's for 2024.
That is left.
We're leaving that in
We're leaving
2024.
that.
We're leaving that in 2024. What are we going to say in 2025?
It is March now.
Just wait until they start walking. It's amazing.
It's the best thing ever.
I actually love toxic positivity.
Actually, same. I'm like, right, we're
Lie to
crushing
me.
it. We always say, we're like, we're crushing it. We're killing it right now.
killing
We're
it.
crushing it.
You're doing great.
Everything is amazing.
love
Have a life put together.
I do love a placebo. I'm like, it's all in your head.
If I tell myself it's true.
Yeah, no, literally. I'm like, that's me. I'm like, pretend like you're healthy right now and you will feel healthy.
That is you. That is so you. Nope, I don't feel sick. I'm going to the gym.
I would never tell
It'll make
someone
you
I was
feel better.
pregnant that, though. I'm like,
Yeah.
you take a seat.
Yeah, you are
take
that
a
way.
seat.
Yeah.
For yourself, you're like, no, I gotta keep going. But if I was like, Abby, I'm sick today, you'd be like, oh my gosh, just go lay down.
What can I get you?
You know, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go to the
You're
gym. I'm
growing a
gonna
life.
do all these things because I'm not sick.
Growing a life.
Even though I am sick. You do say that. You're like, you're growing a life. I'm like, no, but I still have to function
You're
as a
growing
human
a
being.
life that is very important
I
to
do
me.
have to actually.
I'm
function.
very excited to be an aunt.
Yeah.
2 more times.
more
Can I
times.
be your guys' night nurse? How do we feel about that?
I have
Yeah.
bedroom. Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
We'll
How
put
do
a
you
day
feel
bed in the bedroom.
We have a bed.
I'm
You
not
can
gonna go
have
to
it.
sleep. Oh,
Yeah, that's
no,
true.
no,
You'll
no.
be nursing.
I will be awake.
Well, you won't actually be nursing. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, easy.
Sorry,
Wait
I,
a minute.
I don't want you to
That's
nurse my
where I draw the
babies.
line.
That's okay.
I would pump for you. I would try to make milk
would.
come.
Yeah. Yeah.
That something feels really off about that.
No, that's yeah.
No, I feel
we
like I'm
don't
gonna
need to
take
talk
all the
about-
people up on their offers because I feel like here's just like a thought of mine. The people who offer things, maybe when I was listening to Vanessa Van Edwards' podcast, I thought about this, but like you're actually like loving them and like giving something to them to take them up on their offers as well. You know, like that's like
Yeah, she
very
always said that.
kind
She said,
of you.
give them a gift.
Give them the gift of like being able to help you, you know, and like
Yeah.
take them up on their offers that people are asking for, like when they're
Totally.
helping you. I'm like, that's smart because like you would probably feel so loved that I trust you to be able to do that
Totally.
with my
But I
baby.
also wouldn't be offended if you're like, I'm going to do that myself.
Yeah, you want it either way.
You are also
but-
allowed to change your mind once you have the baby. Anytime, any given time.
Yeah.
But I would think that would be so sweet.
That would be fun.
I'm planning on it with my mom. Like my mom's gonna be here for
Oh,
a
yeah.
while, so I'm like, she can do some of them. You can do one.
That'd be great.
You can. You can't have one. I'm sorry. You're gonna be very pregnant.
I probably
I
won't
mean,
be
if
able
you
to wake
want,
up. Obviously,
I don't want you. Yeah, you will be.
I sleep really hard.
40 weeks pregnant. It's okay.
Yeah. But
But if
In
you were
thought,
pregnant,
I'll
I
be
would
there.
trust you. Yeah.
I'll bring you some meals.
Like taking people up on those offers, I think is
That's true.
very nice.
Abby, you had a C-section.
Yeah.
Emergency. First time.
Yeah.
You talked about that a lot. I wouldn't. If you want to know more about her birth experience last time, we have a whole episode on it. But do you think being pregnant again has made you process your birth experience any differently, or just made you like change what you want to do for the future?
Actually doing the podcast that we did after CJ's birth was very healing for me.
Really?
And helped me process it a lot, because I think the feelings I felt a lot, I'll just summarize it. Push for 3.5 hours, emergency C-section, hemorrhaged, CJ was in the NICU. So there were just a lot of big, scary things that kind of happened. And I felt super alone. Just because Caleb was with CJ in the NICU, I was alone during all of the like hemorrhaging stuff. And I was very scared thinking back. Like I had a lot of fear, like thinking back to some of those moments. But when I went on and shared, I had a lot of people message me that went through something similar, and it just felt less isolating. And so I think I was able to process that super well. And I think for the first maybe 6, 7, 8 months, I had anxiety thinking about going through labor again. But I also have a very distinct memory of when I was laying on the table. I remember that there was just stuff going on in my body while I was bleeding. And I was laying there and I thought, I would literally do this exact same thing all over again for another baby. And so in the moment that was pretty intense and scary, I literally had that thought of like, I want to do this again. And so this time I don't really have any fear or anxiety going into it. I've talked to our practice has multiple different doctors and they rotate. So I've talked to 3 of them about a VBAC, and 2 of them were very positive, and 1 gave me some warning about it. So I feel like I have some different opinions on it, which is good. Like you want to know all the risks and things, but I feel pretty set on trying for a VBAC, which is just a vaginal birth after cesarean, if no one's familiar with that. we'll know closer as I get farther along. And like in my mind now, that's what I want to do. But I understand that there are going to be things that could medically come up later that's just not an option. But I really don't want another C-section if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I can see it happening. I feel like it's going to be great, a smooth, amazing VBAC experience.
Yeah.
I really think so.
The doctors that were really positive about it, one of them was a doctor that gave birth, like did my whole birth, was there for the pushing and the C-section and everything after. And she said that she thought I'd be a good candidate for one. And then the doctor that had warning, which I thought he made a good point because I did push for 3.5 hours and I could see CJ's head the whole time. He said that could be a sign that I was just too narrow and he wouldn't have fit. And so if I tried to push again and then pushing and then going back into another C-section after labor is dangerous. So I think there are going to be a lot of things to consider. But I'm also pretty competitive with myself. And I'm like, nah, I think I can do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You got this.
We'll see.
You got this.
Yeah, we'll see though. We'll touch back when I'm like 7, 8, 9 months pregnant.
Can't make the baby's going.
Yeah, we'll see how I'm feeling. Because maybe
feeling.
baby's breech this time. Or, you know, you never know.
You have zero
I
expectations?
have zero expectations, and I feel like that's honestly like such a blessing to like not care how it goes. You know, like I'm like, the only thing I want is an epidural. And then if Blake researches and finds anything else that we should or shouldn't do, I'm game for it. You know, I'm like, if it ends up being a vaginal birth, awesome. If it's a C-section, it's the way it's got to be. And I'm like, I think maybe as I get further along, I'll start processing it a little bit more. But like right now, I'm like, I don't really
Or maybe
have a
like
birth
first
plan.
your second. Because I feel like
Yeah.
before you go through it,
I have no
like
idea.
you're kind of like, it feels so imaginary.
I'm so curious
it's
to
like-
see what
Totally.
my,
Like, I don't know what my body's going to do.
You're
my
like, I don't-
story's like. Because like both of you have had pretty rough, you know, birth stories. And then there's like a couple girls in our friend group that it's the best thing ever. And they've
Yeah.
had great experiences. So I'm so curious to see like.
I think most of my friends have had really beautiful births. And so that always gives me hope. We're not the majority. You know, I feel
I
like,
don't feel like mine was that bad, personally.
yeah, I know Matt maybe says different. feels
Yeah,
different.
Matt's scared.
When I hear about your birth with Griffin, that was pretty terrifying.
Maybe I dissociated.
Maybe you did.
Maybe you did. Maybe you were the doctor
It's
of the
good.
room.
You know what's
You can
really
use it as a
crazy?
powerful good.
Maybe I did because I actually, when it was really intense, I actually saw myself like looking down.
That's
you were.
cool.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
that
You were
probably did
dissociated.
help
But
you
I
through
was
it.
looking through my eyes and it was black.
Yeah, you probably.
Bobby, that's crazy.
Oh.
Doesn't seem good.
I was about to like
Encourage it.
It was black.
I mean, it probably helped you get through something that was super hard.
Totally.
so-
Afterwards, I was happy as a clam.
Yeah.
I'm like
I
so
just the
excited.
best thing ever.
Curious.
I was like, let's do it again.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how Blake is and like during that whole process because he cares. He's interesting. He's kind of like Abby where like my only example is throwing up. He's like, you don't need to do that. You're okay. And so I'm like, is he gonna think that everything's okay
No,
when I'm
because
in labor? It's a completely different
he
situation.
throws up, but he doesn't give birth. So I feel like anything you say about birth, like
He
even
can't
with me
have
with
any
Matt,
opinion.
when I ever had like those
Yeah.
early contractions when I was like late, he's like, "Are we going to the hospital?" Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
I never saw him like that. Like where it was like, I was like, man, I got you wrapped around my finger right
that
now.
is true. Actually, that is so
it
true.
hurts.
Wrigley like jumped
massage.
up. Wrigley jumped on my belly while I was in bed, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" He just jumped like directly on her.
Yeah.
And the next day, Blake's like, do you feel okay? Like, did that like actually hurt? Like, do you think there was actually an issue? I'm like, no. I just didn't want him to jump on my belly, you know, like, and so he's very protective with like the dogs getting on my belly. So I'm like, I feel like when we get to those areas, he's very
Blake, yeah, he'll be
protective.
sweet.
I remember it was the week that we were home from the hospital. We had just obviously had surgery, and
gosh.
Lewis, my 100-pound dog, jumped straight on my stomach in the morning when I was still asleep because it
That's
was
gonna happen to
pretty.
me. I know it.
It was actually very scary because I thought I was internally bleeding. I wasn't. I was just freaked out.
That is so,
It was so
that makes me
painful.
hurt so bad.
It was really sad. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I don't
okay.
think I'll be induced this time, unless just I know that my body didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
Unless obviously there's an emergency of some sort. But
Yeah, I think that's a good goal to have.
because
I didn't want to be
Again, I
induced
have
with
no
Griffin.
idea. I don't know anything. Blake will probably say that once he does his research on stuff.
I mean, your chance of having a C-section, it's statistically much higher.
When you get induced.
If you get induced.
Interesting.
well, my doctor would say you're statistically not higher, statistically, but she would say that I was the outlier.
Interesting.
I feel like there's some.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not a fact. I'm
Because
so sorry.
I said that to my.
No one comes here for facts.
I had one
It's just
doctor.
opinions.
I had one doctor say that if you get induced, your chances of having a C-section go up, and then I had another doctor tell me that's not. That wasn't the study. So I feel like there got to be conflicting studies here.
No, because if you get induced, you could just not progress.
Yeah.
Because your body wasn't like
Wasn't
ready.
ready for it.
Right.
That makes sense. That seems to make sense.
I just remember begging them to break my water because I was like, but then they might not because they might want you to go back home. I didn't know that was I knew someone that tried to get induced and had to go back home. So anyway, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, we're not here for medical advice.
We're not giving medical advice. In fact, if
We
I
wing
say it's
it.
a fact, it still is maybe
It's still
not
in
a
the
fact.
air.
It is.
Still,
This
it can
is
be researched and
entertainment.
fact checked.
This is entertainment. This is entertainment.
Yeah, this is not for facts. This is not
So I actually want to read some of the questions that our producer came up with because
This is entertainment. We're not here for medical advice, political opinions.
No,
we're not
my
here
lips
for
are sealed on that matter.
we are
no bueno on any of those.
They're tied shut.
Actually, I did want to ask you, Abby, what things are you going to do differently postpartum that you like? Are there any things you're like, I don't want to do that this time. I want to do this, or like, I don't know, because I had some things between the two.
I think I will buy diapers this time.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Why
that
didn't
was
you
something
buy
you didn't have.
diapers
I would have
last
bought you a
time?
bunch.
I just used the big pads, and then I had a
Oh,
lot
the
of
adult
adult
diapers.
the adult diapers. I just let CJ pee on himself. And I just
I
continued
thought
to
you
watch.
just like got home from the hospital. We're like, wait, they don't
Wait, we need
go to the
diapers?
toilet.
I thought
I will use diapers.
Fair.
That's hilarious. I don't remember much about postpartum, to be honest. I remember being really sweaty,
Yeah.
like so sweaty. I'd take 2 or 3 showers a day.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do anything. I actually think I did great postpartum.
You crushed it. I
Thank
actually
you.
remember being like, man, Abby has it so together. Why am I struggling so much?
No, I didn't feel.
You didn't make me feel
together.
that way. It was my own. It was my own journey.
Oh.
That was just going downhill.
I
But-
think, yeah, I don't remember feeling like, oh, I felt unprepared about anything. I just think I want the diapers for myself next time.
Okay, I love that. That was your first thought. Do the freedom.
I'll buy
Mom.
the diapers
Yeah.
for myself and
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
I'll get baby shower. I'll
buy
get you some
both
diapers.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
No, you got to do the tucks and the what's this foam? Oh my gosh, what's it?
Dermaplast.
Dermaplast.
I need a whole.
I didn't end
I need a
up
whole
needing
kit.
any of that because even though I pushed and things were getting stretched out down there,
I only needed it for
I didn't
Griffin.
tear anything. So after like 2 days in the hospital, I wasn't sore down there.
That's why I'm like, it's probably worth it to just buy it all and have it. Either way, you know, like in case.
Oh, for yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
Well,
like
they
the,
actually give you a bunch of stuff at the hospital.
True.
I didn't actually like the Freedom Mom underwear because they actually hurt my C-section scar. I had the C-section and the non-C-section ones.
I liked the underwear. I actually want a belly bind next time if I have another baby.
I think I would do that too.
Yeah.
That was a mistake that
What
I
is
didn't do
that?
that.
You like
It holds you together because I remember laying in bed.
like one of the, like a.
yeah, hold
like
it
a
together
belly
because
band.
you're.
Okay,
It's,
a waist trainer.
I've seen people wear those.
it's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
so after C-section though. You kind of just
Okay.
feel like
Your body, yeah.
You feel like
I couldn't
you're
lay on
more
my
stable?
side because I didn't
I
have
felt
the strength.
unraveled.
Yeah, I didn't have the strength to sleep on my side.
Oh.
I remember like the core, my core strength wasn't there to keep
Yeah.
hold me up. So I had to lay on my, which I like
Those
laying
are
on my
rough
back anyway.
times.
But I think I would belly bind too.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That's what I thought about for a third potential.
Yeah, belly bind and diapers.
Diapers.
For myself.
Okay. I actually had a side note. I didn't view my birth as traumatic because barely any time had passed until I got pregnant again, and my doctor was like, "You are not ever gonna do that again." That was really scary, and that was really like she
Oh.
kind of feared me into.
I remember that because I was babysitting Griffin when you came home. And you said my
Yeah.
doctor just told me I had to have a C-section.
Yeah, she was like very adamant about it.
You were
she was like,
kinda
I was
out.
there.
Yeah.
She's like, I was there, and it was. She's like, that was very dangerous, and I was like, oh. And she's like, I was like, but I don't want to. And she was like, you might not be able to deliver. Like, I don't know if they would have delivered me at the hospital.
Wow.
Crazy
That's interesting.
times.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm glad
coming
you didn't
home
feel
from
that way in the moment then.
How do you all avoid comparison in terms of being a mom and expecting parent in relationship dynamics with your husbands? That's kind of a difficult question. Let's just simplify it to how do you avoid comparison? I don't feel like any of us are actually kind of comparing type now that I think about
I
it.
feel like we talked about that on the last
Oh,
episode
yeah, we did.
too, about how like, but even I don't know if we talked about like parenting like for you guys or anything, but I'm like, I feel like I watch you two parent and I'm just like learning, like at least being like not having a child, I'm more so learning and not being like not gonna do that, or you know, I'm like just learning techniques from you guys, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm gonna compare, other than if my child's like crazy and doesn't behave. I'm like, what the heck did I do? You know?
Yeah, I feel like there's an aspect of like we're all winging this and learning as we go. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I can't judge, or I liked that, I'll try that. You know, I think it's just taking things like, oh, I did like that, or oh, I don't know if I would do it that way, but I don't know if it's right
Maybe
or
that's
wrong.
part of the like openness of like talking about like maybe you guys too, like the struggles of parenting, and like that you don't feel like you know what you're doing, so it's easier to not compare because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we also have different kids. So,
Yes.
like, I don't know. This is a part of me that I'm like, yes, I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know. Something about being a mom, like, something filled me with, like, so much self-assuredness and confidence in my abilities as a mom. Like, I don't relate to, I don't want this to come across as, like, egotistical or as, like, I think I have everything figured out, because that's not the way that I am. Like, that's genuinely not the way that I feel, but, like, a sense of confidence that is like unbreakable filled me when I became a mom. Like not when I was pregnant, and honestly I don't know when I first noticed it, but then I was like, I'm going to always make the best possible decision for this child that I see fit personally. Okay. And so like I'm never like, I don't know, I think that's something that like comparison can't really crack at.
I think that makes sense.
I think that's 100% true.
Yeah.
Like you feel that way too?
Yeah, it's like I love CJ so much.
Like I'm like, I know this kid better than anybody in the world here.
Yeah, I'm not intentionally gonna do anything to harm him, or I'm gonna do things to the best of my ability. So if I'm doing it to the best of my ability, then I can just have peace that that's my best.
That's
and
how
maybe
I feel.
I'm like, other people do have higher caps than me, and some people have lower capacity. So I'm like, I'm not gonna compare myself to someone who's like they can run at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm not gonna compare myself. I just don't run at that pace. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel.
Yeah, it's probably like you know
insecure by
yourself too. You know yourself and you know your child.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is this is how we roll.
Yeah.
Like the two of us.
Yeah.
I'm curious how you guys
Yeah.
feel, because I was thinking about this the other night, because a lot of people are like, you have no idea what, you get a baby and you're like, what do? I have no idea. I've never experienced this before. And I was like thinking about it the other night. I was like, I'm not really worried about that. I'm like, I feel like I know the basic needs of a child, and I'll figure it out. But maybe once like I have it in my arms, again, I said it, like I'm just, the association's not there yet. When I have her in my arms, I'm going to be like, I might be a little more freaked out. But right now I'm like,
If it happens, like I feel like it
worried.
probably briefly happened. Don't get me wrong. Like if it happens, don't feel anything like less than because of that. But I really do feel like, I don't know. My hot take also, not hot take. I actually need to stop saying that.
I know I said
My opinion is that our current culture celebrates anxious parenting.
Oh my gosh, that was what I was gonna say.
Really?
Finish your thought.
No, you go ahead.
That's my advice to all moms. I said, learn less.
That's how I feel. I'm like, Blake, figure it out for me and tell me what I need to
Because
do.
why did I spend so much time researching on the internet what to do if your baby doesn't sleep at night? What to do if your baby is colic? What to do if your baby doesn't drink this or that, or whatever, or your baby gets sick with this? Why did I have to know all that beforehand? I don't. Like, you figure it out as things come at you. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the internet. I don't need to know before. I don't need to stress myself out beforehand. Yeah. But as things come, you have then the ability. We have the internet. We have doctors. We have friends, family that can help us with answers. But like, to freak myself out beforehand about things, like I remember I took a nursing class through my insurance, and that class stressed me out so much, and I retained literally nothing. And I'm like, breastfeeding is going to be crazy. I don't even understand the schedule. The minute CJ was there and the nurses were there, they help you. Like, my nurses helped me. They taught me the schedule. They said every 2 hours, write it down, keep a log of this. And then I didn't have to worry about it from there on out.
Moms, even our own moms, did not have that type of access because it's not necessary. It can be a tool,
yes,
but I think we're not using it as a tool, and like we're more so in generally speaking, using it to like feed our own anxiety and our own worry. Worry is a natural part of being a parent. I think that there's nothing wrong with that, but like the anxiety component, that's not something that we should like praise. And it's something we should take care of the parents that are experiencing that. Like it's something that we got to work through.
Yeah.
Not like live in that state.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like something I'm like, you know what? You don't become a better parent by having anxiety for your child. That also probably makes your child lack confidence in a
Yeah.
way. This probably doesn't affect them until they're older, but like when they feel like there's like such an anxious parent, then they feel probably not that confident to take risks or to try new things or to put themselves out there in different ways. Like I was anxious at times, especially like postpartum, like freshly about things. And obviously like when my kids are sick, but then also like when I finally was like, let myself rest in the confidence that I was actually feeling, like I was like, I'm gonna let this win because I think that this is going to make me a better mom and parent better. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm
totally.
explaining
No,
that
I think
well.
that makes sense.
No, totally. And you'll enjoy the process a little more.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Find so much more joy because nothing can really throw you off that much. You're
Yeah.
like, ugh.
And I wonder, like, if it's, for me, okay, so anxiety is, like, I don't know if it's a symptom of pregnancy or if, like, it's my hormones or, I've never felt true anxiety before being pregnant. Like, where, like, in your stomach and, like, in your head, you can't think about anything else and you're, like, so nervous you can't sleep. Like, things like that has not happened until I was pregnant. And it's happened multiple times being pregnant. And I don't know if it's, like, the way my brain's processing. It's not about parenting. It's just about life or different things that are happening in my life. And then maybe it's the life stage that Blake and I are in, that there's different things that I have anxiety about. But I'm like, whew, my brain.
I think there is a sense. We're not talking about anxiety that comes from hormones.
No, yeah. You're
Because
talking
there
about,
is a
no,
there
yes,
is-
it's different.
That's probably what you're. I think
Yeah.
that's probably what you're experiencing. There is a like, and I don't want to say irrational anxiety because
No, I feel like it is.
But there is just,
I
like-
wasn't normally anxious. Why am I
yeah,
doing it now?
I guess we're talking more so about like self-inflicted anxiety.
Yes, no, for sure.
but
for sure.
yeah, if you're experiencing that,
It's like a different symptom.
I think that's really normal. I've had a lot of friends have like pregnancy and postpartum anxiety, and that is like a diagnosed thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had that, like, I don't want to say depression, but like I cried every single day that I was pregnant. Sometimes I wasn't even sad and I just cried.
Well, that example, like last night, waking Blake up and being like, I need you to be awake with me right now. I've never done that, ever. In our 2.5 years of marriage, never been like, wake up, I feel anxious. You know, I'm like, pregnancy maybe. And
Yeah.
so that's like the only
No,
symptom
totally.
I feel like I've like
Anything-
had emotionally. Like,
Your hormones could do literally anything to
Yeah.
you. Your hormones could do
It's weird.
crazy
that's
things.
the only thing I've noticed, like, hormonally.
Dang.
Like, honestly, like, that's that big. Is like
I
the
think-
anxiety portion.
I think the best thing to do is just always talk, like, wake them up. Who
Yeah.
cares? Like, you're like,
We need to talk about
this
it.
is
I
a
need to be
thing.
like, this is
you
what
can't
happened
let
last
it.
night.
You can't let it fester. You
Yeah,
gotta talk
yeah.
it out. And I'm sorry that's
He's always
happening.
good about
Yeah.
that. He's always like, oh, you're having anxiety about this? How about you just talk to that person? And then, oh, yeah, that would probably work. but it does.
I'm sorry.
how do we
I
work through
definitely
that?
think that's a pregnancy thing.
Yeah, I hope it goes away. Or I
Yeah.
learn ways to handle it.
I was gonna say there are some tools. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can find them and send them to you that are like coping mechanisms.
That's
For
great.
anxiety like
Because
that.
last night I just started thinking about the TV show Traders until I could fall asleep. I'm like, don't think about those other things. Think about Traders.
Was it effective?
I did. But that was after I got sick and threw up, and then I felt better, and then I thought about Traders.
Wow, did you throw up because you were anxious then?
It might have been like the anxiety
Oh
woke me up.
gosh.
And then I was like, oh, my stomach hurts. And then I couldn't go back to sleep because I was thinking about things. And I feel like if I would have been able to go back to sleep, I wouldn't have had to get sick.
And it's not
I don't know.
about pregnancy or
It has
motherhood.
nothing to do with pregnancy.
It's just
It
a
has
feeling, or
Just
do
a
you-
feeling, and then
oh.
there's like, then I like think about things that like happen throughout my day, and I'm like, oh, this thing needs to be done, and I haven't done it, and if I don't do this, then this will happen, and this and this and this, and just I can't stop thinking about it.
Man.
Which is weird, because then I go to bed, I don't like. It's like different.
It's not weird. I mean, you're about to go through a huge life transition, and I think it's really easy for us to, like you were saying, Abby, earlier, you process after the fact, and I do too. And then sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a really stressful time, or that was really crazy. And in the moment, I didn't necessarily recognize it, but your body will show signs that you have stress or anxieties before you actually recognize that that's what it is. And so I think there are a lot of things going on. You and Blake are about to welcome a new baby girl into your family. And I mean, that's it. That's a massive thing.
That is
Well,
a massive
job
thing. Job
loss.
changes,
Job
like
changes.
things like just finances, like having a baby, that's a big life change in like the finance area too, and jobs, and thinking about like working and baby and life and baby, and just wanting to be good at everything I'm doing while I'm also pregnant, you know, like just all the things.
I think it sounds.
I don't like letting people down.
I think that makes sense that why you would feel anxiety.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't think that anxiety itself is always rational or makes sense. Like why you'd be worried about, like you're not worried about pregnancy or the things that you're actually like the big things going on in your life. But I think it's just a symptom of trying to figure out how to navigate these big life changes.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
maybe you're catching it on the early end, and I
Hopefully
caught it
it's
on
not.
the late end.
That'll be good later.
Yeah,
That would be the goal.
yeah. I really do feel confident that like you will feel so much peace when your baby's here. You know what? That's actually, I've had so many friends. I'm like, this isn't shared online a lot, but like so many personal real life friends are like, you know, I kind of always felt like I was, you know, in a fight or flight stage, and then I had my baby, and I felt just so much more calm and like so much more peace. And I don't know, it's just like, when you're living like, I don't know, your life how you were supposed to live it, I think there is just like a, I don't know, a calm that doesn't even make sense, but like there's just like a calm that comes over you, like a peace. Showing kids on social media versus not. Abigail, how did you decide to show your son online versus Abby choosing not to? Do you ever feel weird? Because I don't. Like, do you ever feel like, oh,
No.
she thinks I'm a bad person?
No, because someone else asked me this. They're like, do you think about all the people that follow you or view your stuff? And I said, honestly, and this isn't self-deprecating, but like you guys are on such a massive scale that to me, I'm like, no one follows me. You know what I mean? Like no one's looking.
I don't know, everyone that watches this podcast better go follow Abby.
Go follow Abby.
You know, but you know what I mean? I'm like, you guys are on such a different scale of things where I'm like, People Magazine are writing articles about your family. There's going to be a different level, or like, I think there's going to be just a different level of precautions that you're going to have to take. Whereas with CJ too, we're not always going to show CJ or our kids, but I think as they're little, it hasn't hurt me, or I haven't noticed things that I felt unsafe about online with him yet. But I'm only going to show him in a positive light. Like, I'll never share the bad. I'm never going to share him crying or throwing fits. And like maybe
He does
people
that all the time.
Yeah.
He always,
He doesn't show them that.
he's an angel child.
But I think there's a tendency for people, or like in the name of authenticity or vulnerability, to like show the realities of parenting. But I'm like, I'm not actually going to put him in a light online. That looks bad.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's my highlight reel. I think I kind of, for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's going to be a point where he gets to an age, and I don't think we're that far from it, where I don't show him anymore.
Yeah. Like, I'm hearing you say, like, you're like, I have boundaries around it. It's
Yeah.
not just because you show it. Like, that's such a weird place to place the boundary.
It's not just one and
It's
done.
so personal,
There's
too.
like a scale.
Yeah.
You're thinking that way.
Yeah, and I think there is a level, like sometimes I think about, oh, am I posting him too much? Because I don't actually want people to have that much access to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I do think about it a lot. But yeah, I think it's like when he goes from being a little baby and a little toddler to like a little boy, I think there'll be a line that's probably like, he's not going to be.
It's
a
really
part of
sweet
it.
sometimes when I'll post something, or like CJ's in the picture and like Griffin and Augie aren't, or something, and people think it's one of your kids, and they'll DM me and they'll be like, hey, by the way, like you're showing Abby's kids, like their faces. I'm like, it's CJ,
Yeah,
they're
Abby.
okay with it. But it's like people are protective of you too, which is like
It's
nice
sweet.
and sweet of their like your
That's
boundaries with your
sweet.
kids as well.
I made a boo-boo a couple weeks ago. I forgot to tell you.
I'm not.
It was up for about 5 minutes, but I got I got several messages.
But
like,
that's
thank
not,
you.
like, that's also just not, like, not the purpose for it.
No,
So, like,
that's
if
not
you,
the
like, I'm
purpose.
like, I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no hard, I don't think that Abby's a bad mom for showing
One thing that I think
I've gotten those vibes.
I feel like that about our friends too that choose each other. I'm like, by the way, I think you're amazing. I
Yes.
don't like. I'm not. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not me. Like,
One thing that I think is a
people speculate
misconception
so much.
with like, but even before I lived here and before I was like much closer with you guys, I was like, I hope they're still taking videos and pictures of like the boys and like have those around their house and stuff. I'm like, we take a million pictures of those boys and their faces, and like we have them, and
It's
we have
straight up my
private stories where
problem.
we're like able to share those moments and things like that. But I'm like, all the pictures in your house have photos of the boys and their faces and things like that. So I feel like that could be a misconception online. They're like, oh, but they're not saving those memories. I'm like,
I
we have
know.
so many
I'm
memories of like the
wow,
boys and their
you
faces.
really think you have 100% access to my
Yeah,
camera
no.
roll.
I promise I take pictures that are not posted.
No, literally, I
Actually.
get to that all the time where I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, ah, crap, I haven't posted stories today.
You're like,
and then I
"Let's
like go
post
through, I'm
the
like,
toothbrushes."
well, it's literally just my kids.
There's nothing I can post.
It's literally just them doing
Yeah,
everything that they did throughout the day. But yeah, no, that's what I think. That also just goes back to comparison once again, where I'm like,
Yeah.
there's not a part of me that like feels any type of way, because I'm like, that's between you and your baby. Like, this is kind of a weird one. So if you don't think of anything, we'll just move on. What is a story that stood out to you about Matt and Abby? Could be funny, emotional, embarrassing. That's so broad. So if you don't think of anything right away, we can just do something else.
Like in regards to parenting.
I don't
Just
know.
in
Sure.
general. I'm sure there are.
I always think about when Augie was born. I don't know if you guys have ever shared this, but Augie was like a very colicky baby. I don't know if you guys would diagnose him that, but I did.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
The only way, I'll just never forget this, we'd be sitting in your kitchen and then Augie would start screaming, and the only way to calm him down, it was middle of August, would be to put him in the Solly wrap, and you guys would full sprint run around the backyard
my
when it was like
gosh,
115
yes.
degrees outside, and that was the only thing that would calm him down.
One time I was watching him and I was just like jumping with it on. I'm like, come on.
I was like, wow, like that's impressive.
Everyone in our family admitted once Augie turned like 1 that they were scared of him. I was also a little scared.
I was like, he just, you
To
know.
get him to nurse, I had to do the same thing, and it's very unfortunate because I had to be topless, just like running and holding him like a torpedo post C-section. I was just like, why do you need this type of sprint? That just honestly matches his energy.
It matches his
He
energy.
needs chaos to fall asleep.
It also, I'm like,
Honestly,
it's
fair.
Matt. It's Matt, honestly.
Fair.
I love it.
Comes
It's so
from that.
That's what actually
Yes.
Matt just told me that the other day. He's like, I really think that Augie has my personality and Griffin has yours, because Griffin's like empathetic, kind of
Loves to read.
sensitive,
Yeah.
likes to read, like,
Yeah.
and then Augie is just like, ah!
Yeah. I always laugh and I always tell people about that. I'm like, you'll figure out exactly what your baby needs.
Yep.
Even if it's the craziest thing. Like, I don't know how you even figure that out.
But
We had
it
been
works.
exhausted. We had exhausted every other
Every
option.
other-
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are great parents. And it was just funny.
had to cocoon him and then sprint.
Yep. Yeah.
Laps.
You couldn't just cocoon and sway. That was not
sway
gonna
was
do
not
it.
enough.
That was not
Never
gonna do
enough.
it.
That's too gentle
It had
for
to
him.
be forward trajectory also.
We've been having
Not up and
serious
down.
conversations
No.
and not be doing laps around the island.
like,
He's like,
hold
oh,
on,
my God.
Up and down, that is so true. Up and down didn't work. I literally would go forward, like bouncing like this.
No.
Because like he
Up and
needed
down
like
doesn't work. He needs
so
forward
many.
motion.
Oh my god! I was watching him one time when you guys were recording a podcast episode, and we were like, I had to keep going in and outside, and there was an alarm on the door, and I'm like, they're recording, but he's crying. He won't. I can't put him down, so I literally was just bouncing with him outside the whole time. I
He
was like,
never
would
was
not
a
lay down.
lounger.
No,
baby.
not a lounger.
I love that story.
Not a lounger. I love
Great
it.
times.
He's going to laugh about that Sunday. He's gonna be like,
You ever be like,
sorry.
you were crazy. But he's
I
like
remember-
so happy too. People when they
He's
catch you at
so
the right
happy.
moment, they're like, "This kid,
I
are
know.
you serious?" And I'm like, "Oh, shut up."
You don't even know.
I love that he's crazy though. Like,
Yeah.
I literally love that.
Oh my gosh, it's the perfect match.
He's so fun.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I'm like, your energy's amazing.
A
Yes.
funny thing that I like, the video pops up every year on the day, is like when we used to live in Springfield, and I think we were coming over for dinner one night to you and Matt's apartment, and I was recording a video. I was sitting with Blake. I was like, they're making a TikTok right now, and I like turn it around, and you guys are like dancing in the kitchen.
Oh,
and it was like, obviously this was like before you guys like got so so at some point you're
You're
like,
probably like, your
That's
brother's
fine.
sister or your sister's crazy.
and it was so funny. I was like, kind of making fun of it, and I'm like, nope, shouldn't
who's
have made fun of
laughing
that.
now.
Yeah, look who's laughing at. Look who's on their podcast.
When we were on the family cousins trip and Matt made you get up and do a boat. You guys did he didn't make you, but you guys did this like boat dance.
Yeah.
And all the cousins.
I mean, I
and
wasn't
aunts and uncles.
volunteering it.
You're like, it's not my family, it's my married family. But you guys got up and you did this dance on the boat. All our aunts and uncles and cousins were all just sitting there watching.
Like in Missouri, like right here, right now.
So funny.
I'm so excited. Okay, am I gonna be in the
Babies.
room when you guys are having babies? I'm
it's
so
gonna be
excited.
fun.
I love you
Who
so
asked me
much,
that?
but I will not be there.
Someone asked me.
I know
if
you don't want me there.
wanted- if you were going to be in the room with me.
I always think that's a wild assumption.
And
I didn't want my own
before
mom.
my mom, but also love you, mom. No,
I didn't
it's
want
just
my
gonna
own
be
mom there
Blake.
either. Yeah, I was like, I just kind of want it to be me
Yeah.
and Matt and total strangers.
Yeah.
I feel like for the multiples, like when we get into 3 and 4, I'd probably have my mom in my room.
That's
Really?
And don't hold me to that, mom. But
I think my
You
mom
need to
was
clip
kind of
this part.
offended that I didn't have her in the room.
I feel like for the first, it's very intimate. And it's such like a milestone life change that I'm like, well, I just want to experience that with Caleb. But I think for the others, it'd be fun.
I feel like no one calms me down or like regulates me the best other than Blake. Like
Same with
I love my mom. We've talked about this before. She's way more emotional than I am, and so she'd probably be like really emotional. I'd be fine, and I'd be like, Mom, I need you to just take a break, you know. And so I'm like, Blake is like the best person because I'm very overly crazy, and he's like so mellow. I'm like, I need that person in the room with me.
My mom's a good suck it up lady. She'd be like, suck it up, Abby.
She
You can get
is?
through. Oh, yeah.
That would be.
She's a
that
good
might be
tough love,
Blake.
really.
One thing I was gonna say is that I'm so excited for your dad for a little girl.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
my
he's gonna be
gosh.
he's so sweet with the boys. I cannot.
He literally cannot keep himself away from the kids. Like he
yeah,
he
he's
just like
sweet.
sneaks
So
out,
good.
or like he also he
thinks
with a girl
everything they
though.
Like
do
if
is
he's like that
hilarious.
with Griffin, like he's
They're
gonna,
his
heart's gonna
screensavers.
melt with a
He
girl.
talks about it. He tells me stories like
sweet.
5 times of the same story about something Griffin did, something Augie did.
Replays the video.
Yeah, he's like, I literally hear the video while he's going to the bathroom, and I'm like, is Griffin awake right now? I thought he was asleep.
that's
And I'm like,
sweet.
oh, it's just Dad watching that video for the 20th
Yeah.
time in the bathroom.
He's going to be that.
So either
He's gonna
she's
be-
gonna have a little bestie girl, or she's gonna have a new boyfriend. Legally, that's fine. We're not actually
Stop.
related.
Wait,
We're
your
not
dad
actually-
too will be so sweet. I thought
He
I
has
loved
3
meeting
little
your dad
girls.
at the gender reveal. I was like, oh my gosh, he's
He
so
went
fun.
through everyone. He's like, I talked to all these different people, and these are the things I learned
So
about all of them.
sweet.
I'm like, oh, so this is that person that you talked
Yeah,
to.
I know, it's so sweet. I'm like, he's gonna be a great grandpa.
Sweet.
So, and then my mom's gonna be just like so involved. My mom's already like trying to figure out plans
She
to
loves
be out
babies.
here. She loves
It's gonna be
babies
so,
so
fun.
much.
She's gonna be a great person.
They're
to have
so
stay with
excited.
you.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna be so good with just like I trust her so much.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
It's gonna be so good. I'm so
So
excited.
excited.
Big year, lots of things happening. Thanks,
Maybe
guys.
next time we do an episode, we'll
Have
both
a
have new
baby.
babies.
Be nursing.
Yeah, we might have the babies with us.
I actually think I've done that for podcasts.
You have, yeah.
You have.
You gotta
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a working mama.
Working mama.
We'll just put it into existence that we'll be nursing, and then Abby will be pregnant in the next one.
put it out there.
That's my goal. That's my hope for you.
No, I want you to wait till I get pregnant again.
Abby,
Okay, fair.
the other day you told me that I could have another baby when you have your 4th, and I was literally about to throw up. I was like, shut up
I'm
right
still
now.
trying to
long
give you
from now.
reassurance.
I
Give me
don't
time.
want that. I don't even
I'll
want to
be
wait till
pregnant
you're
with you
third.
when you have your
Abby,
third.
I'm
Please.
trying to reassure you. You don't have to have it right now if you don't want.
You gotta be pregnant with
Okay.
someone.
Well, let me.
When you said that, I was like, Abby, shut up. You're forced. Don't say you're cooking away. You're barely started
She's skipping the third. She's skipping the whole third. You don't even get the third.
Maybe
Yeah,
when
she
35 we'll have our
skipped the
4th. 7 years from now.
I know. I was literally like, well, how long does she think I'm wanting to wait this out? I'm basically chomping at the bit at the moment. Come on. The only thing that's keeping me calm is that you guys are having babies.
We're hoping you scratch the itch.
I know, we want you to scratch it, and we can all be pregnant together.
It will for sure.
It's so funny.
Okay. Well, I'm so
Yeah,
happy. I can't wait
this
to
is
see
so
Nancy.
good.
And it's a big year. Follow them both. Follow Abby. Follow Addie. I don't know if Addie wants to follow.
You
You can follow her, but
I don't
real-
post anything.
Follow Abby. And
Yes, follow Abby.
thanks so much for listening.
Yes, thank
Bye.
you. Bye.